You already know what this is about. The second you saw this title, something in your chest tightened. Because you've been carrying something, building something no one else can see. And almost nobody around you has any idea how much you've changed. That's about to shift. Not slowly, not in some gradual way where people squint and say, oh yeah, I guess they do seem different now. What's coming for you is the kind of visible, undeniable shift that makes people stop mid-conversation and ask what happened to you. The kind where old friends text you out of nowhere because they sensed something different in the air around your name. But here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. This isn't random. This isn't luck finally finding your address. What's about to happen is the direct, mathematical result of every single thing you did when nobody was watching. Every night you stayed up working on yourself while your phone buzzed with distractions you didn't answer. Every morning you woke up and chose the hard thing when the easy thing was right there, begging you to pick it instead. Every single time you bit your tongue and kept moving forward when the people around you gave you every reason to stop. You planted seeds in the dark, and the harvest doesn't care who was paying attention. It only cares that the work was real. I want to talk to you about something most people will never experience. Not because it isn't available to them, but because they quit about 6 inches before they hit gold. They start the diet and stop at week 3. They launch the business and fold after the first slow month. They set boundaries with toxic people and then answer the phone at 11 p.m. because the loneliness got loud. They open the door to change and close it the second discomfort walks in. They almost become the person they were meant to be. Almost. But you didn't almost. You stayed. Even when staying felt stupid. Even when your own mind built a case against you, presented the evidence, and told you the jury was in. You overruled it. You kept going. And that decision, the one nobody clapped for, the one that happened in total silence between you and whatever room you were sitting in at the time, that decision is the reason everything is about to change. Let me tell you what's really happening right now. Your frequency has shifted. I know that might sound abstract, but stay with me. Think about the last few weeks. Think about how things that used to bother you just don't land the same anymore. People who used to get under your skin barely register now. Drama that would have consumed your entire evening a year ago passes through you like smoke. You're not numb. You're not disconnected. You're actually more present than you've ever been. But your tolerance for anything that doesn't match where you're going has dropped to almost 0. That's not you being cold, that's alignment. Your entire system recalibrating to match the life that's already forming around you, even if you can't fully see it yet. And the people who were supposed to be in your next chapter, they're starting to show up. Maybe you've already noticed. A conversation that felt different. A connection that didn't require you to perform or shrink. Someone who just got it, who got you without you having to try. That's not coincidence, that's resonance. Your energy is finally attracting at the level you've been operating at in private. See, the world has this delay built into it. You do the work now, and the results show up later, sometimes weeks later, sometimes what feels like years. And during that gap, that brutal stretch where you're different on the inside, but everything on the outside still looks the same, that's where most people break. That's the valley where dreams go to die. Not because they weren't valid, but because the person carrying them couldn't survive the silence long enough. You survived it. You're still here, still building, and the gap is closing. I need you to feel that in your bones right now. The gap between who you've become and what your life looks like on the outside is shrinking faster than you think. The external is about to snap to match the internal, and when it does, it's going to feel like everything happens at once. People will call it overnight success. Let them. You know the truth. You know about the 2 a.m. conversations with yourself where you had to talk yourself off the ledge of quitting. You know about the mornings that started with doubt so heavy it felt physical. You know about the plans you had to scrap and the versions of yourself you had to let die so this version could live. There was nothing overnight about it. You just did the bleeding in private. And that's exactly why this chapter is going to hit so different. Because when you build in silence, when you do the hardest work of your life with zero external validation, the moment it becomes visible carries a weight that performative success never could. It's the quiet of someone who knows what's coming, the calm of someone who's already decided, and that energy, that grounded, immovable energy, is what attracts everything you've been building toward. See, most people try to manifest from desperation. They grab at opportunities with shaking hands and wonder why nothing sticks. But you've shifted into something else entirely. You've stopped chasing and started becoming. And that's the difference between someone who gets lucky once and someone whose entire life transforms permanently. You're not looking for a moment. You're stepping into an era, and it's going to catch people off guard. The phone calls are going to start coming. The right people are going to find you, not because you went searching for them, but because your energy became a signal they couldn't ignore. Opportunities are going to appear in places you weren't even looking. That's how it works at this level. You stop hunting and start magnetizing, and everything that's meant for you begins moving toward you with the same urgency you once used to chase it. I want you to pay attention to what's been happening in the last few weeks. The small synchronicities, the random thoughts that turned out to be premonitions, the conversations that felt different, heavier somehow, more aligned. The ideas dropping into your mind at 3 a.m. that won't let you sleep. None of that is random. That's the universe reorganizing itself around your new frequency. You upgraded, and now reality is catching up. But here's where I need you to be careful. This is the part where most people sabotage themselves. Right before the breakthrough, right before the visible shift. The old version of you is going to make one last attempt to pull you back. It might show up as sudden doubt, a bad day that feels disproportionately devastating, or a temptation to return to old patterns, old relationships, old versions of comfort that no longer fit who you've become. When that happens, and it will happen, I need you to recognize it for what it is. It's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're so close to the other side that your old identity is panicking. Growth threatens everything that was built for the smaller version of you. Your old comfort zone doesn't want to die, but it has to, because you can't take it where you're going. Let it go. Let the old you grieve. Let the relationships that can't follow you fall away without guilt. Let the habits that kept you safe but small dissolve without ceremony. You don't owe your past a goodbye tour. You owe your future your full presence. The life you've been building in silence, every early morning, every late night, every dollar reinvested, every skill quietly sharpened, every boundary quietly enforced, every tear you didn't let anyone see you cry, all of it has been accumulating. And compound growth doesn't announce itself until it becomes undeniable. You're right at that threshold. Think of it like this. Imagine you've been stacking bricks in a room with no windows, day after day, brick after brick. You couldn't see the progress because There was no external reference point, no crowd, no scoreboard, just you and the work. But the wall has been rising. And now you're about to walk outside and see what you've actually built. And it's going to take your breath away, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because you built it with hands that were shaking. Because you kept going on days when quitting would have been the logical choice. Because you trusted something you couldn't prove, and you were right. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. Not the faith that shows up when everything is going well, the faith that shows up at rock bottom with a hard hat and a blueprint, saying we're building anyway. You built anyway. And now the building is about to become visible. So, walk into this next chapter with your shoulders back, not with arrogance, with knowing. The kind of knowing that comes from having earned every single inch of what's ahead. You didn't skip steps, you didn't take shortcuts. You took the long, quiet, unglamorous road, and it led you exactly where it was supposed to. The silence is ending, not because it failed you, but because it finished its work. It taught you who you are when no one is watching. It proved that your worth isn't determined by external validation, and that you can trust yourself. And now it's time to let the world hear what you've been building. Your life is about to get very loud, the kind of loud that makes people ask, what happened to you? The kind of loud that makes old friends reach out, saying, I always knew you'd make it, even though they weren't there for the quiet part. Let it unsettle the people who underestimated you. Let it inspire the strangers who are still underground. Let it be loud. You've earned it. This isn't the beginning of your story. This is the part where the story finally matches the person you've been becoming in private. The plot is catching up to the character, and from here on, everything accelerates. If this message found you on a day where you needed permission to believe in what's coming, let this be it. You don't need to explain your vision to anyone. You don't need consensus or approval. You just need to keep going for a little bit longer with the same quiet intensity that brought you here. And if this resonated with something deep in you, something you've been carrying alone, leave a like so this can reach the next person who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel, not for content, for the messages that keep finding you when the timing is exactly right. Because this isn't the last thing the universe has to say to you. Not even close. Your silence was never empty. It was full of work. And the work is about to speak for itself.